Do you only accept sub VODs for review? No, I accept VODs from both subs and non-subs, but the only difference being that subs get half off because they are paid. The VOD reviews are pay to play just because of the demand, and subs get half off on their the cost of their VOD reviews. Anyway, we're doing a Winston VOD here. Did you submit one to me, Lazy Dad? Why do I not see yours? Oh, it just showed up. It wasn't originally on my my list. We do have 2 more VOD reviews to do. We do have 2 more. Okay. Going back down the list. Rhino Jack Axe with the Prime sub, Giraffe with the Prime sub, Samich Grimsley, Tier 1 subscription, and P337 Twitch, 200 bits. Thanks for your stream. The stars because you are a superstar. Aw, heart. Wait, what the fuck is that? Streamlabs, are you okay? Streamlabs, I think you're drunk. Oh, man. Okay. We're looking at Winston on Route 66 next. I think Streamlabs broke. Okay. Gold Winston. Gold Winston is what we're doing next. Any questions before we start the next VOD? Well, the star's trying to escape. Star's trying to escape. You can do it, Mr. Star. Would you accept half a scrim in first person? Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with that. I often hear it's frowned upon to tunnel vision as Tracer. How do I find the balance between pursuing singular kills and being a general nuisance to the enemy team? You want to be a general nuisance to the enemy team until you find the opportunity to actually get an elimination. But, you know, tunnel visioning usually refers to like pursuing targets past the point of sanity. Like if you can't kill them anymore, or you're going to like be at a high risk of dying yourself, you're not going to pursue because the opportunity does not exist. Like tunnel vision is often just another way of saying forcing. So if you try and force an engagement or try and get a pick that is just the opportunity does not exist for, it's not going to go well for you. Big Star, be gone! Fizz. How to main tank? Make space, don't die. That's pretty much it. I'm a 3K mouse DPI RTS player that swapped to Overwatch. Should I actually use a low sense for hit scan like the pros, even though it feels so unnatural? Like even if you're a high sense player, I'd go like if you're currently above 10,000 EDPI, like at the very least put it to 10,000 and see how it feels. Don't go all the way down to like 3 or 4K or something like that, like the pros do. But if you're above 10,000 EDPI, and EDPI is DPI times your sensitivity. So if you have like if you're saying that you're using a DPI of 3,000. If your sensitivity is anything higher than 3.5, I would say set it to 3.5 and see how that feels. And then if it still feels super unnatural, just fucking suck it up and try and learn. Like, you don't have to be at the pros. Like, I don't know what the hell Gaguri's sensitivity is, but it's insanely high. So, anyway. Do you value a main tank that has synergy with the off-tank or DPS more? Didn't I already answer that? It was off-tank. I definitely synergize with the off-tank over DPS. Unless you're running some sort of like 2-man dive crew with like a Winston Diva or Winston Tracer. Are teleports and generators a high priority for Tracer? Absolutely. How do I make less mistakes? Make more conscious decisions. I'm a sound designer. Surround simulation technologies like blah 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 and Atmos on headphones are gimmicks. Yeah, but Dolby Atmos itself in the game is using the game engine's information itself. It's not like the actual Dolby that is just used on any sound, but I will nod and smile because I don't know enough to refute you. How do you basically shot call and you don't go on autopilot? That is not a easily answered question. Like the first step to shot calling is to learn to ult track because your calls depend on the status of ultimates. How many more emote slots do you have? Fucking tons. Please submit more emote ideas to me. There's an emote submission channel on the Discord. Please submit more emotes. I have so many emote slots I don't even know what to do with myself. What are some good synergies with Reaper? Lucio. I can only think of Lucio if they're using him more broadly. Definitely Lucio. Anna's pretty good too. Anyway, let's. I play at 5 cents. Should I low it? Are you the If you were the guy who was at 3 DPI, yeah, try 3.5. Okay, let's look at it. Gold Winston. Nice butt jump. Pushing for distance, I like it. Oh, immediately hard engage right onto their front line. Bit risky. Like, you don't... If you are going to be doing an engagement like this, like, you've just hit tab now, right? So, if you are going to be doing an engagement like that, a blind engagement, because your DPS didn't do any recon, just wait to the 15-second mark, right? Because at 15 seconds, this tab menu actually appears, and you can see what the enemy team is running. So, the blind engage there... a tad ballsy. Oh, ready to learn? Awesome. Okay, so what do you have? You've got a you've got Winston D.Va, nice classic dive tanks. You've got Moira and Zenyatta. I really like this, and then unfortunately you have Widowmaker and McCree. So this sucks. Like this sucks. And the problem this sucks is that you've got double hit scan, one of them being flanker, and the opponent's running an Orisa, so if they play properly, the Widowmaker is not going to have a lot of nice sightlines. Good news, however, they're running a defense Widow, and you've got attack Widow, so assuming your Widow isn't complete trash, she should have the advantage. However, D.Va here is kind of stuck between two worlds. The D.Va is going to want to actually protect you on Winston, you know, with your aggressive dives, but you've got a Widowmaker and a McCree, and D.Va also kind of needs to protect those people from, you know, the Genji, for example. They are running double sniper, so your McCree is countered. Like, your McCree, if I was playing this McCree, I'd want to see him switch. McCree has fall-off range, and neither Widowmaker nor Hanzo have fall-off range. So unless somehow the McCree can close the distance or surprise the snipers, he's going to be fucked, ignoring the fact that the Orisa shield exists in the first place. But again, if the D.Va is actually protecting the Widowmaker and the McCree, that leaves you alone to dive. And you don't even have a tracer. You're literally alone to dive. So, what do you do in this situation? A, switch. Just straight up. However, if you are going to be playing with this sort of style, like if for some reason I was on a Winston one-trick account and I found myself in this game, and it wasn't gold, what I would be trying to do was basically playing like flank Winston, which is, it sounds strange. Sounds very strange. But your tank lineup here is not as strong as theirs. They're running Orisa, D.Va, and your DPS, unless your Widowmaker wins the duel, is outclassed, and this Genji is still going to be pressuring your Zenyatta, your Widowmaker, and the McCree if he uses Flash. So you need to be looking for opportunities to apply pressure in other directions. If you kind of frontline against the Orisa, you're going to take a shit ton of damage from the Orisa as well as anybody else who's playing around here. So number one job here would be to avoid the Orisa. Hanzo is good if he's on his own. He's probably the best target because he has no mobility. Widowmaker is actually a surprisingly poor target for Winston to go after, especially when Winston is solo, because Widow will have grapple available that she can use to either get to the high ground, get to a different high ground, or just kite you. So solo attacking Widow, if she hasn't used grapple, is going to be very difficult. So the main target I'd be looking for to kill is going to be this Hanzo right here. But yeah, this is going to be pretty fucking suffering for you to play Winston into, specifically because you have a Moira who's going to be wanting to heal multiple tanks here, but they've got an Orisa, so if you go tank to tank, even with the Moira, you're going to lose. However, the enemy is running solo Lucio heal, so who knows? There's so many different ways you could do this. I'd probably just play really flanky and whatnot and try and apply pressure to the people who are either, you know, if the Genji uses dash, the Widowmaker uses grapple, the Hanzo is alone. Any one of those three things would probably trigger me to try and go and solo kill them myself. The audio is a little bit fucked on this VOD. The audio issues are on the VOD itself, not on the stream. Well, it looks like their Widowmaker's better than your Widowmaker. What would you suggest the McCree change to? Something that can follow up on the dive of the Winston, either a Genji or a Tracer. I do like this high ground here. The only reason that this is going to have... The only reason that this could have any value is the fact that they're running solo Lucio heals, and if you get cleave damage on the opponent, you're going to be just applying more damage than they can actually heal. So that is a perfectly valid playstyle, is just getting more value constantly than the opponent can heal up.
Genji
That's an opportunity. Yes. Oh, you called it yourself. Oh, damn. Hey, look, a Hanzo exposed too. But you recognize, I love it, man. I love that you recognize that the Genji was a free kill there. So you went onto him, and you went onto him without using jump. And then when he escaped, you tried to jump over. Like, you messed up the jump. Not a big deal. But the fact that you recognized that the Genji was basically a free kill, and you chased him, like, you even said it over comms. You even informed your teammate. I love that. Bubbling the Diva Bomb was good. Liking your play so far. Their Widowmakers currently just dicking on your entire
Widow,
team.
Man. Diva, we gotta group together and take out this Widow.
That was...
I need someone to get a Genji off of me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go behind them and all.
I'm gonna go behind... Good fucking luck, McCree.
Like right now. Start putting pressure on them.
So, yeah, the fact that your Zenyatta is asking for help means that your Diva's doing something really weird. How is your McCree even gonna get behind them? That's my question. What? He actually
Diva's
did it!
almost out of mech.
What?
A fucking joke.
Where was he? What? How did he get two? What? Where is he?
Like right now.
Like right now. Where is this him? Is he in like gas station somehow? I think he's like right there. Did he just like go through tunnel and get to gas station? What the fuck?
Start putting pressure on him.
I love, like, you know, I gotta give it to him. His idea was dumb, but he was communicating it. And wasn't one of our rules? Like, we have a quote on the list of quotes where it's one person doing something dumb as a mistake, two people doing something dumb as a strategy. Holy smokes. Just shows how much you can get away with if you communicate in chat. Oh, man.
Diva's almost out of mech.
What a fucking joke.
You do need a little bit of work on your jump. So you missed the jump onto Genji. I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt that it was just like, you know, a one-time mistake sort of thing. But you've missed a lot of jumps so far. And you could have short jumped there. I guess it still worked out, but it worked out because your McCree fragged too early on. So you have a couple of options here. Yes. So you can either attempt to kill the Genji just straight up by just zapping him. Because unless he like hard focuses you, even if he does, it's going to take like 4 swings for him to actually kill you.
Versus one.
So
Nice.
if you think that your team is in danger of a Dragon Blade, then you can pop Primal to just punt him away. But if not, just focus him down with your left clicks. You don't really have to... Yeah, your jumps suck, man. Your jumps really suck. Okay, let's go into the training range. Hey, look, the star's still here. Fucking Streamlabs just melted down. It's like, I'm fucking done, bitch.
Imagination is the essence of this.
Okay, so short jumps, right? So if you just like kind of... If we're standing here, and then we just press shift, right? We make it pretty much to the edge here. And that's your standard jump here. But what you need to do on Winston is... Fuck, don't you dare T2ers me. Damn it. It's always just a moment too late. It's always just a moment too late. Fuck. Damn it. Okay, so we're going to start here, right? So standard jump, looking straight here. Just almost 20 meters here. Now, actually, let's take this even more basic here. So there's a couple things about Winston's jump, right? So the first thing is that there's a minimum takeoff angle. So if we look directly at the ground, and we press shift, we're still going to go that 20 meters. We're still going to go that 20 meters. So no matter where you look below the minimum takeoff angle, you're going to take off at that minimum takeoff angle. And this is also what prevents you from like jumping through low doorways. Like this doorway, for example, is going to be pretty difficult for you to jump through because you're going to hit the door frame. So this is kind of like what prevents Winston from actually jumping through doorways, is because, you know, even if you look at the ground, you're still going to hit your head on the door frame. You cannot change your jump angle below that minimum. And this is also why, for example, on like Nepal Shrine, you know, there's the left, that's the inside by the Mega, and then there's the main and the right side. If you're playing, for example, a Reinhardt comp into a dive comp, and the dive comp team is defending, you would attack left because the Winston can't dive your supports because you're inside through doorways. So this actually is one of the ways you determine if you go left main or right against a dive defense team. You go in places where you can put your supports on the other side of doorways. Anyway, there is also a maximum takeoff angle. So if we look directly up, and my left hand is off the keyboard here except to press the spacebar. Oh, shift. There is still forward movement. So you have both a minimum takeoff angle and a maximum takeoff angle on Winston. So the other thing is that unlike Diva's boost, face cam is all I need. Unlike Diva's boost, which has continuous momentum, right? We can fly around, we can change our momentum, and our speed is the same. Winston is a singular increase in momentum, which means that you can change his direction and speed after he's actually taken off. So, for example, if we jump vertically but then hold our S key, we can actually land behind where we took off. So we're starting here, and then I'm going to be looking straight up, but we talked about how there's a maximum takeoff angle, so we're still going to move forward, but immediately after pressing jump, I hold S, and I can change my trajectory in midair. Now, this is how you actually use Winston to get the short jump here. So if somebody is really close like this, and I want to finish them off or something like that, instead of like jumping at them and be like, ah, shit, I fucked up. You know, the other way we could do it is we could jump directly up and then kind of like aim it and land directly on them. But that puts you in a very predictable arc. It takes too long. And the way that you do that, you're not going to be landing on somebody like that close, but you could back up a little bit. And then if you press S before you jump and hold S throughout the jump, so let's start here. And we're going to land like right next to that light. So no W, no S, nothing like that. I land here. But if we hold S through the short jump, we land about halfway, less than halfway. And it's about 8 meters is the optimal short jump. So if you are, you know, like this, you're actually at the point where if you do the short jump correctly, you can Tesla cannon somebody throughout the jump if you pull off the 180. And it's also a really good finisher. So, you know, if you bubble and somebody goes outside of your range, instead of kind of like pursuing them outside of the bubble, you back off until you're in short jump range, and then you jump to finish them off with the landing combo. So if you were going to learn one Winston tech, and the one tech that you have to be able to do and just do instinctually is the short jump. And it's really weird for people to do, like 7.5 meters or so. It's really weird for people to do because you have to hold S, or the key you use to retreat, in order to actually jump forward. But you need to practice this. So, and you can practice this, you know, in the training range here. For example, I want to jump on that bot, boom, landing right on it with the short jump. Whereas, like, you can do the same thing where you can like hold W and launch yourself farther. Like, I'll do a long jump onto that bot there. I'll just go, I overshot. But yeah, so you can control, your jump isn't as static. You can do a pretty fine control on Winston's jump. Let's do another long jump. There we go. So just practice standing like here and trying to jump on different bots. So I'll shoot him, right? Just a little bit over, but you know, and you can, like, you don't, as soon as you've kind of like ran into the same trajectory, you can let go of the arrow keys to you know, continue at the right or the same rate of travel you're going on to. Final Winston tip, just because this is going to come up, I'm sure. If you jump and then let go, you'll just land. But if you jump, hold W to keep walking forward, and hold space, you'll actually skip. So you skip to go even farther. There's a whole bunch of Winston text for you. Okay. Can you wave at me and smile? Hey, baby. Pretty sure that's what you asked for, right? She took the mega from you!
This will protect
Great use of the bubble there to drop or to block the micro missiles.
The payload moves towards our desired outcome.
Excuse me for dropping in. Sniper, be careful.
Your team's just getting
It's
dominated by the
insane.
Widowmaker. Just too bad. What's your second DPS? Somebody switched on your team and I missed it. Yeah, I know the audio in this VOD is actually terrible. So you swapped off of Widowmaker and we're on to Tracer. So now you're running Tracer McCree. Like the McCree is the one that needed to switch, but he's still on McCree, which sucks. But can you still do the skip after the short jump? Yes, but it's a lot shorter because you don't have much momentum at all. Just bought my first ult. Nice, King Binge. And Gabriel, 101, despite the disagreement on Dolby Atmos, with Tier 1 sub for 2 months in a row. Many more to come. Thanks, friend. Appreciate it. The audio is fine on YouTube? I'm hearing it pretty scuffed out of my headset, so...
The payload moves with certainty.
And this, like, see, this is what I was talking about, that flank Winston style that I would play. I'm not sure if you did it on purpose, and if you did, you're a really smart Winston player and deserve to be a lot higher than gold. But you snuck around the building, you showed up onto the Hanzo, who was isolated, didn't have support, and you just murdered him. So, exactly what I was talking about. This is the kind of playstyle that I would be doing if I was just stuck playing Winston in this sort of composition. You found that Hanzo, you just fucking murdered him. I love it.
What is low?
That Genji, like,
Yeah,
we got a group and Winston needs to
They have
go.
no healer.
Winston needs to jump on this fucking widow.
I am, man.
it's always the Winston's fault. Never the McCree's fault. I've
Just
got
want that.
20-meter fall-off range. Fighting a Widow who doesn't have fall-off range. It must be my Winston's
And
fault.
she's in gas station.
The Genji used dash again. You could pursue that, probably.
Alright, regroup. Go down low.
Group up with me.
They do have no healers.
I don't know how many times I've explained it, but yeah, like Winston, especially alone, does shit all against a Widow who still has grapple. Yeah, your jumps, again, you did the same thing right into the doorway. What? you didn't quite back out far enough out of your bubble. If you'll see, you still had your your head was still poking through the bubble. You thought you were safe, but you needed to just be a little bit farther back. There's that Hanzo. Ooh, drop! I didn't even see that guy. He was discorded, and you helped take him out. That's great. I'd still be wanting to look for that Hanzo, right? Because you're not good fighting against Orisa. Orisa is higher damage and higher sustain than you, and her, you know, the trade-off that she trades off in terms of having more health, more survivability, more damage is the fact that she's immobile. So especially when she's on the low ground, she can't protect people on the high ground. So kill the things that she is kind of like making space for, and then deal with the Orisa. But as a Winston, you don't want to be engaging Orisas in like any sort of like 1v1 or 2v2 or anything like that. The only time that I would jump but you just go into a practice range and practice those jumps, boy. But yeah, like the only time I would jump an Orisa as a Winston is if like they had 5 or 6 people stacking together and I wanted to get cleave. Like if I was playing for cleave damage, I'd do it. Otherwise, just nah. I'm never gonna be anywhere near an Orisa. Gold damage Winston? Really? Nice.
Genji on me.
It was very nice of that Lucio to. Oh, man,
We're both low.
good thing he didn't see 9. That Genji used dash.
Genji's low.
Durisa, get Durisa.
You're probably gonna have to primal to stay on the payload. Perfect. You need to kill the charger. You know what? You're making some I am, honestly, this is the first VOD that's impressed me today. You like, your decision making and your game sense, really strong for gold. Your jumps
coming behind.
are horrendous. But in terms of like your decision making and your awareness and your positioning, you know, staying on the payload in overtime, using primal to ensure that you don't C9,
Do you even know boosters?
being aware that like Genji's dash makes him a viable target and calling that out for the rest of your team.
Is that Genji still
So
behind
far,
us?
I'm pretty impressed.
Probably.
Oh, nice.
But
Good job.
yeah, if you just like fix your jump issue,
Diva's on me.
I think you'll climb to plat no problem.
Back Diva's on me.
That jump worked pretty well. It was nice of them to put them in
Honest
the perfect
down.
range here. Yeah, so be on somebody, not the Orisa. Just find somebody who's not the Orisa. Nice.
Thank you, Lucio.
I like
Genji's
it.
low.
Yeah, same sort of reason why. Yeah, it's too bad. So against things like Widowmakers and Genjis and things like that, is that they can both do the same thing to you. Is that if there's a high ground, right? If the Genji is on the high ground like he was, and you jump up to the high ground after him, he's gonna run away to the low ground. And if you kind of like jump after him, he's just gonna like either dash or probably not dash. Because if he's on you, like if you're on him, he probably doesn't have dash. But he's just going to wall climb back onto the high ground, and you don't have any way that can follow him. In the same way that if it's a Widowmaker, you know, if there's parallel high grounds, if there's parallel high grounds and you dive a Widowmaker as Winston, the Widowmaker is just going to grapple to the other high ground. But if there's not, then if you jump a Widow, her primary, like her normal reaction is going to be drop off the high ground. You drop to actually pursue her, and then she's like, jokes, I'm back on the high ground with grapple. So always be careful about giving up the high ground to pursue a target that has vertical mobility. 9 times out of 10, they're juking you and are about to go back to the high ground. Just be very careful about that. Because he retreated into the middle of your team, right? If you didn't follow him, he would have died. Because your entire team was there and he was at like 1 HP.
No one can hide from my sight.
I need heals.
It's alright, cursor. So you hear the Dragon Blade, you need to be focusing the Dragon Blade. I'm not sure why you didn't, you obviously heard it. But you are one of Genji's hardest counters, and Dragon Blade doesn't give him any more survivability, right? Doesn't give him any more survivability. So you, more than anyone, need to keep pressuring that Genji so that he can't blade freely,
How I
and that
get
during
slapped?
his
Are you
blade,
kidding me?
he isn't just free to do whatever the hell he wants, right? And this applies to, like, if your Zenyatta has to transcend, for example,
That's
if
pretty
your
good push.
Zenyatta has
We can
to
hold
use
that.
Transcendence to sustain your tank lineup, but the enemy Genji has Dragon Blade, during that Transcendence, you need to find and pressure the Genji so that he can't blade freely. That's your job, right? You need to sit on his face so that he can't charge his blade and he can't use his blade. And if he uses his blade, he dies. So I don't think you're pressuring Genji enough. But overall, your decision making past that is pretty decent. Gorgon 125 for the tier 1 sub, thank you so much. And Nitronic 1302 also with the prime sub, appreciate it, my friends. Kale used 400 bits. I was trying to get you to wave at me so I could get a Jayne
There's a lot
high
of
emote for
switch.
you, lol. Oh, okay, well, we'll put the face on. Okay, and then we'll do.
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
Welcome back, Hoon Overwatch. Jayne is promoting face sitting. Hey man, we are a kink shaming free stream. Oh man, I'm reading this chat. This chat's good. Subbing for a tournament today. Wish me luck. Hey, good luck, Jackal. It's awesome. A tank has the ability to make space for the DPS, but is there a way to enable the tank as a DPS? Only if you're playing like a really high damage hero. Then you just if you just pressure the enemy tanks, it makes their job of taking space become a lot easier. So it's easier on like soldiers, for example. If soldier just like spams the hell out of the enemy tanks when they're in a tank v tank fight, or like if a Pharah, if you're playing pharmacy and your Pharah is shelling damage boosted rockets into the Diva Winston, that's helping your tanks. So anytime you're actually assisting the tanks in out like pressuring the enemy tanks, you're assisting them. The melee animation cancel on Winston doesn't actually increase your damage. It's only for burst, so for finishing combos and whatnot. Have you gone through how to deal with Tracer as Zen? I am new here. We haven't today, no. I'm a Reaper one trick. Is that a bad thing? Man, if you enjoy, like the only thing that I have a problem with one tricks is if you don't communicate. If you're a one trick and you communicate and you work with your team, power to you. And man, if you like Reaper and you want to play Reaper, fuck it, play Reaper. He means the landing melee cancel? Yeah, landing melee cancel is still no extra damage. It does not increase your damage output. It's just for burst, for finishing combos. You can use it to initiate to make sure that healing is applied at a healing begins to be applied at a lower health point, or to finish people off with a burst damage. But in terms of like damage per second, the melee jump combo is not more than just Teslaing on land. The melee delay persists through the landing delay, the landing animation. Doesn't punching improve ammo conservation in 1v1s? Yes, it does. Is it big enough to actually matter? Not usually, unless you're against an armor target. What is the best way to deal with the Tracer targeting you as Anna? Like, if it's just a Tracer, you should be able to duel her, especially since you'll have support with your team. If it's like in a 1v1 situation, don't miss. But, yeah, positioning, make it difficult for the Tracer to actually flank onto you, and just playing in an area where you can have somebody protect you, like a Lucio or a DPS or something like that, is usually enough. Any healer doesn't want to fight a flanker 1v1 if they can help it. So. Oh, they're all flaming. Who are they flaming in all chat? I missed all chat. Oh, Flex that wants to... Flex thinks... Kid thinks my main is gold. I just play Widow on this one. Oh, man. Whatever, man. I'm not... like, Widow is... The enemy Widow is probably smurfing. She's hitting a fuck ton of headshots, but... Why wouldn't it be more DPS since Tesla punching does more DPS than just Tesla ignoring ammo? Why wouldn't it be more DPS since Tesla plus punching does more damage per second than just Tesla ignoring ammo? No, punching, like weaving melees into your Tesla cannon does the same amount of damage. Keith OW hosting with up to 8 viewers. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it. Keith is a, if you guys don't know, Keith OW, who just hosted, is a South American Contenders player I used to play on a team with. When we needed a main tank player and there were none available in Canada, we imported a Peruvian superstar to play on our team, and that was Keith. So if you watch South American Contenders, you should definitely cheer Keith on. He's fantastic. Great guy. It's better against armor, yes.
Guys, we don't need to be holding that far up. The Widow's going to have super long sight lines up there.
That ass back.
Yep.
Your Torv's already dead.
Happens.
He's low.
Keith is on Caverna. It's Caverna is the team that Keith is on. Woo! That jump didn't land you on anything. Like a valiant effort, I guess. Your team was already down 1. You didn't let your diva know that you were going in. You didn't land on a target that was exposed.
Yeah, I don't think Torp's gonna work, dude.
So, like, You know, we can say that I don't think Torb is going to work, which it probably won't, but also jumping suicidally 1v6 without the support or warning to the rest of your team really isn't going to help. Yeah. Is that horrendous noise from the VOD? Holy smokes.
Must be cautious.
If we had the first point, it would have been fine. They got that on us.
This will protect us.
Going for the Mega? Yo, that sound is awful. Hopefully you guys can't hear that buzzing. Words are hard. If you could build your dream team for OWL, who would you choose? Oh, man. Tough one. I do like the Nixel squad quite a bit.
I have high noon.
That's better. Excuse me for interrupting.
Sounds like a faucet or like a sink is running in the background.
I'm ready to initiate self-destruct sequence.
I fucked up! Oh my god, that's too funny. Yes, you teabagged him of everything!
Barrier activated.
Where the healers at, though? Thanks, boss.
One thing you can do, like, you can't, like, successfully diving a Widow, oh, her grapple fucked up, you can get her. But,
Sure, Winston.
one of the things you can use Primal for is, deep diving, right? So if you can dive farther with less support with Primal. So if you do, like, really need to murder a Widowmaker and she hasn't used her grapple,
Oh, I pressed Q. I pressed Q,
Then,
dude. What the fuck?
you can jump after her, and then after she grapples, you can just pop Primal to chase after her, because you get the jump every 2 seconds in Primal. So I thought that's what you were going to do, but she fucked up her grapple and you got her, so...
Can we stall that out?
Re-engaging.
Other than that,
Yeah. Just hold up here.
I can just one.
So see where that soldier is? That's where I'd like to be as soldier. Or as Winston, right? So you kind of like leapt up to that position, but from that position, you could be shooting people on the low ground and getting cleave and kind of like denying that space to the enemy. But with you holding back on gas station like you were, there's not a lot you can do there. You're just giving them free space. And when you're a tank, your job is to make the space, not kind of just like give it to the opponent for free. So I would have liked to have seen you been very aggressive, right? So if there's a like a hard choke point, well, this isn't like the hardest choke point, but it's a choke point, right? So if there's a choke point like this, you know, let's say like this, for example, and if there's like a high ground or something here, and we know that the opponents need to come through here, one of the best places to defend as Winston is right on this high ground so that he can like cleave this area so that the opponents can't really take this position without taking damage, and they can't really chase after you because you're on the high ground and only certain people can actually fuck with you on the high ground here. So let's go to Overwatch. Ugh, voice crack. Oh, Maps none. Let's go to Volskaya. So one of my favorite places to hold on Volskaya. What are you, like 13? Yeah, what am I doing? Like talking 8 hours a day? Ugh, who does that?
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
So one of my favorite places to hold on Winston on Volskaya is, you know, you don't want to be holding like here. This is more like Ryan's initial positioning, you know, and then you fall back on the ground and whatnot. My favorite spot to hold on Winston is actually right here. So you can't actually, this is kind of like my favorite Winston spot right here. So if they push in, so if they actually like push along here and towards the point, I just like to drop behind and be like, hi Zen, and then the Zen's dead, and then I like rejoin the fight like this. But if they try and take the high ground, so if they try and take the high ground using the elevator, I can be like zap, 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 and get a fuck ton of cleave on anyone who's trying to actually climb the elevator. And if I have an Ana, I'm still in LOS of my backline the entire time. I'll have orb sitting on me and get shit tons of cleave. If they just walk in from the front, I can kind of be like, cleave, 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 cleave. And if they don't actually deal with me, their backline is more or less forfeit. So this is like one of my favorite positions to be. But like recontesting, for example, oh, I missed that jump. But yeah, using high ground whenever possible is just so very powerful. And I'm going to show this my favorite. This is my favorite Winston jump in pretty much every map is on Volskaya here. What about the crane thing? If you have the opportunity to contest without using your cooldowns, i.e. dropping from the high ground, it's always better, right? Yes. So my favorite, this is actually my favorite way to actually start the initial dive on Volskaya, is I like to prime or stage by getting on this high ground here. And if I stand on this position, I can jump from this high ground. If I just jump and go like this, I can land on this high ground here. And then if they're holding this choke or this box, I can like bubble myself and just cleave without falling off. I can just bubble myself and then cleave everybody on the low ground. It's probably my favorite Winston jump is from the top of that building there. And obviously there'd be recon and scouting and my flankers would be in position and all that. But I just like to start here. And then you can be like, I'm engaging. And then you jump in. Boop. Then you land here. And cleave, 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 cleave. And you're not in danger because only the people who can actually get to the high ground can actually contest you. So, looking for spots like this on Winston, super... Fucking... I hate using my mouse when I have my tablet on my table. But, yeah, so... This spot is probably my favorite for defense on second point Volskaya. Just positions like this where you're on the high ground and you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, unless they take this high ground position from you, they really can't attack the actual point. So... Here we go.
Sorry, half.
Be careful.
How do you do a shortened jump? Just hold S.
Alright, back up, back up.
This will protect us.
Wow. I don't know. Up in Master and Grandmaster, it's so rare to actually see a Reinhardt, unless you're like running into Harry Butcher or something.
That's better. Barrier activated.
And again, I'd like to see you on the left side on the high ground, not on the right side here. Because on the right side here, right, you're inside of a little... You're inside of a little tiny room where you're not as free to use your actual mobility, right? We talked about this already, but Winston is limited by like ceilings and doorways.
I don't know how we have them for so long.
How do you know all these spots? By doing, or is there a guide I can watch? You just kind of like know
sure you
the
don't all do the
principles.
same time,
So if you know
soldier.
the principles of how you want to do things, you can just apply it to any map geometry. Like it's kind of just experience. It's not like there's not a video explaining these spots. There's not, a list of these spots. It's just you know what you can do on the character. You know kind of what playstyles are strong, and you just adapt based on the geometry that you're given. So I am not the kind of person who goes into maps and practices and custom games. I just kind of apply them, or I see other people do them and I replicate it. So should I be using a high or a low sense as Winston? Sense is placebo, really, honestly. As long as you're happy with it, it doesn't make a huge difference. I wouldn't be using like super low. On average, Winston players have about 6k EDPI, but yeah, it's mostly placebo. As long as you're happy, like low sense, high sense Winston's not going to make a difference. What's a good way of stopping the habit of reloading at dub times? I find myself doing it a ton. There's nothing, like, if you recognize that it's an error, there's nothing that's going to fix it other than conscious effort. Do you know any secret Widow spots? A couple, not many. I don't play a lot of Widow. My aim is trash.
Small into the breach.
My aim is honestly trash.
I'm gonna ult first. Alright. Kinda did anyways, so.
At least as far as GMs go, I guess. So yeah, you've got Primal here. She's going to grapple away from... Oh, you got bumped off by the Diva. And then you got punched. And Doomfist is a pretty hard counter to Winston. Not only because he does so much damage and he ignores your barrier, but he's such a hard counter because you can't really kill him on your own. Every time that he uses his ability, he's getting 30 shields. So if he lands an ability on you,
Nice.
it's like half a second of your damage that is delayed or undone, more or less. He can uppercut you at it. He's got a shotgun. Doomfist fucks up Winston real hard. You definitely don't want to be engaging Winston if you have any say in the matter. Is aim an acquired skill or a gift? Exclamation mark practice in this chat should give you a an opinion on what I think about talent. Just type exclamation mark practice in the chat. See? Grappled away.
Chased.
Nice.
I need heals on point, if possible.
I am ready to unleash coalescence.
I like that you're making the Reaper come to you, kind of out of position there.
Be careful.
You know, like the Reaper is a threat to you, but only a threat to you if you're alone. If you're with your team, it's definitely a lot harder for him to do anything about it. So, hiding behind that payload there, because they've got like both. Like the Widow doesn't really counter you, but you really can't do much to her either. And then the Doomfist and the Reaper are both very hard counters to you if you end up in a fight against them in any sort of low number engagement. But the rest of your team should, like, together, a lot of people, Reaper and Doomfist don't deal with large numbers of people well.
10 seconds remaining. So close! Just hang in there!
Hey,
The doubler. So, like, the major key here
Nice
is,
DM.
like, the D.Va got 2. I definitely wouldn't have used Primal here, right? You lost 2 before you engaged, and then you lost 2 more to Doomfist? So this is overtime, right? Just standing and, like, fighting on the payload to try and gain time here is not going to get you a lot because it's overtime. There's no more time to burn. I'm chasing the healing orb. I love it. And then you're re-engaging here, but you're re-engaging. This is out of all like the good things that you've done. This is probably one of the worst things. So it was overtime. The D.Va got 2 kills. The Doomfist got 2 more after that. It was very obviously a lost fight. And then instead of like trying to regroup or dying to regroup, you just stayed alive, and you were doing a really good job of being evasive. But it worked against you because it prevented from your team of actually regrouping as 6 at any point in time. So legitimately, the only thing you had to do was run away until overtime and then recontest.
Just give it up.
You had spawn advantage. Even if you like consistently traded 1 kill for 1 kill over and over and over, you had spawn advantage. You would have won. And if you had primal, you could have stalled it out. So your mistake there of trying to fight on the payload instead of regrouping or dying is going to cost you the game.
No more monkey.
So I think it's all practice. Yes, I don't think talent exists. I don't think talent is a thing.
And as well. Widow's 1.
Yeah, so same sort of thing, right? You used Coalescence and you used Beat when your team was 2 down. So you still actually haven't like gotten a full man. Do they have a Bastion? Is that what I heard? Do they actually have? They do. Have
somebody want to play
Bastion.
May?
Yeah, that's it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
so
already.
Through halfway on second and all of third, you didn't actually take a single team fight, and that all started because you decided to kind of try and be fancy and stick around the point and stay alive instead of just regrouping and fighting as 6. No matter how good you are individually, if you you can't 1v6. You just straight up can't 1v6. So that's too bad. That was a very winnable game. Very winnable game.
On the point.
I hope somebody flames somebody after the match ends. Oh. Like, I mean, short of actual legitimate physical handicaps, sure. But,
fuck.
Unless you have, like, some sort of actual handicap, like you're missing a fucking arm, or you have some sort of genetic muscle weakness. As assuming you are an otherwise healthy human being, it is just practice. It is just practice. Like, even the difference between slow twitch and fast twitch muscles can be gained. So APM, like actions per minute on a keyboard, can be trained. No flaming? Flame each other. I want to be entertained, all chat. You are a small, sad little kid. There we go. I was hoping for it. I knew we had the right recipe for flaming. Didn't even get play. Nice. I like it. I like it. Okay. And we got one more VOD for the day. And it is Flex. A Flex player. So I don't actually know what heroes. It's just listed as Flex on my list. Some eye hand coordination is genetic. Like, if there is such thing as talent, if there really is such thing as talent, you can think of it as the difference between how much liquid can fit. Go away, Star. You're interrupting my demonstration. Okay, so talent is like a container, right? A cup of water or a glass or something like this. A really talented person is a Coke can. A really talented person is a Coke can. There's 355 milliliters of practice needs to go into this to make them a professional. And you have to fit 2 quarts of plastic into this to make you a professional. So if there is such thing as talent, the only thing that it changes is how much practice you need to put in to become successful. It's not saying that you can be successful or you were naturally successful. Nobody just appears naturally talented at something. If you're talking about the Gen 1 pros, the people who were pros in Overwatch in the beta and then Season 1, those people didn't just magically become good at Overwatch. They had been professional in other games. They'd been pro in other games and had transferable skill sets. So, at the most, the only thing that I acknowledge talent as being is determining how much practice it would actually take you to be pro. I think everyone could be Grandmaster. Not at the same time, because it's a fucking bell curve, and that's mathematics. But you, right there. You. I'm looking at you. You right now have the potential to be Grandmaster. You have the potential to be a professional player. The only difference between you and the current pro players is 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. Not 10,000 hours of playing arcade, not 10,000 hours of playing quick play, not 10,000 hours of playing competitive, 10,000 hours of actually practicing. You have the potential. Don't make excuses like my frame rate isn't high enough or my talent isn't natural or any of that bullshit. The only thing between you and Grandmaster is practice. Real talk. The only difference between you and Grandmaster is practice. It looks like the hero pool that we're going through next is Zarya, Soldier, Tracer, Moira, Zen, Lucio. That is quite the flex player in one game. Holy smokes. Dislocation SDS, tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, my friend. TJBOW has resubscribed tier 1 for 3 months. Hey, I can do this now. Whoop, whoop. Now, have to quit your job yet, or are you cowarding still? I got 1 more month left of my job before I'm free, friends. One more. Dan's game 123. Be gone, Big Star. Did we get rid of the Big Star yet? No, the Big Star is still there. That's funny. Def Mech has subscribed with Prime, as well as 420. And yeah, that's the full list. Ooh, this brings up a good question. How do you improve reaction time? Man, if you figure it out, let me know. I honestly think,